They forced me down on the floor. They should got the blade and they should cut. The molestation started. My innocence left me. Oh, this is making me emotional.
Isatu,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for coming down to the stool today. So as I said, we're just gonna jump right in. Let's tell me a bit about your childhood, your time in Sierra Leone.
I was born in Guinea, and I believe around the age of 5, that's when my family moved to Sierra Leone. So the memory that I have of being born in Guinea was that my mum, who was a housemaid for my father's mum, so my grandma, used to take me from one side of the city to another side because we had 2 houses. One was my grandma's house, and the other was like the family house. My mum was the housemaid for my grandmother, so she used to take me from one side of the family house to go to my grandma's house that she was looking after. So the memory that I have of her is that she literally would take me out, would clean together, cook, she would do my hair, probably spend like the weekend with her, and then she'll take me back to my grandma's house. I've never met my biological father, so during this period, my dad was nowhere in the picture. So I kind of grew up in like a very big family, loads of cousins and stuff like that. Around the age of 5, my grandmother, slash father side of the family, decided that they wanted to move to Sierra Leone. I think that there was a lot of things going on in my family that I probably don't know much about, but I just know that I was told that we're going to move to Sierra Leone. And I was told not to worry, that my mum would be coming to visit anyway, so it wouldn't matter that we're going from Guinea to Sierra Leone. So I actually remember going to Sierra Leone, and I had a younger sister from my mother's side. We have different dads, but I remember my younger sister coming to visit when I was in Sierra Leone. Don't know how long she stayed for, but I just remembered that she did come. So I think that gave me hope that, okay, like I want to see my mum, because if my sisters come to see me, then my mother's going to come and see me. Yeah, so that was age 5, and then I believe probably like age 6 or so, I was subjected to something called female genital mutilation. So I don't know if you've heard of that. Um, but with that, what I was told was all the girls in the house were going to go to Kono, which is a village in Sierra Leone. We're told that we're going to go there to visit my grandmother's village to know more about her background, where she's from, how she grew up. And this was meant to be something exciting. You know, this was like a good trip for all the girls. And out of all like the cousins and the girls that took part, I was the youngest. So I was 6. And I believe there was about 17 girls. But I remember when we were getting closer to the trip, I kept hearing my cousins who were males talking about it. Because in Sierra Leone, FGM is called BUNDU. And so at 6, I kind of I heard of BUNDU. I knew a little bit of what it was, but I didn't really know what it was, you know, in great detail. So I remember kind of like hearing my cousins talking about like mentioning Bondo, but like everyone's whispering. So I remember going up to like one of my older cousins who was a girl, and I was like, what's going on? And they're like, oh no, don't worry, like stop talking about it, stop talking about it. They were like, we're just going to see grandma's village. So, but I knew as a child, I remember like thinking, this is a bit weird, because no one's really like, everyone's excited about the trip, but no one's really trying to answer my questions in regards to whether or not this trip was about Bondo or something. So it was kind of like, hush, hush, stop talking about it. We're going to have a great time. Get ready. This is something that's meant to be fun. It's going to be such a great trip. And so from what I remember, literally 17 of us and probably more people just kind of traveled to Connaught. And I remember getting there, and we had a very big welcome. Like we had a party, you know, we had all like the masquerades came out dancing, and you know, all the village women were dancing like it was meant to be fun. But I remember I started crying from the get-go, because it was my first time in the village. It was my first time seeing like people wearing costumes, and I was quite scared seeing all the costumes and stuff. But I guess that was like a signifier of like something great, like a celebration. And yeah, I just remember that happening. And then I guess celebrations over, went back to the family house, and you know, there's loads of women there. But I just remember being told that all of us had to go to sleep really early because we had to wake up extremely early the next day. So all 17 girls, all of us slept in one room. So we slept in like this really dark room. Didn't have a window but had a door, and it was quite small, to be honest. Like all of us were kind of squashed, next to each other, but we slept on the floor. I slept on the floor, and I didn't really know what to expect, because I feel like at that point it's like it still wasn't really made clear to me whether or not like what was really going on. It was just kind of this trip, and it's a celebration. But I think as we kind of went to sleep, I feel like I kind of knew that something was coming, but I still wasn't too sure. But yeah, I just remember like waking up in the morning, and this woman like walks in the room, and she tells all of us to get up, looking at her, and she just says that she's gonna give all of us numbers. So from the oldest to the youngest. So the oldest person was number 1. I was the youngest, so I was number 17.
How old was the oldest girl?
I don't know, probably, I don't know, but definitely not more than 20, I don't think. Like, yeah, I don't know who the oldest was, but I just know that, yeah, it was in that order. Yeah, and I was number 17, and literally the lady would come in, call your number, shut the door, and everyone else is just waiting silently. So we had to sit in the room like silently. And of course, like I sat there and I'm just seeing like everyone go. And once they leave, you don't hear from them. Like you don't know what's going on, basically, because they shut the door. And obviously we don't have a window or nothing. So we're just there. We're not allowed to talk. We're literally just sitting down like on the floor, legs together, and just waiting for your number to get called out. So yeah, like my number got called out, number 17. But I think at this point, when everyone was gone and I was the only person in that room, I just remember being so scared. I remember being scared, and I remember like one of the thoughts that I had was I wanted like one of my aunties or like one of like the neighbors that we had in Freetown to come and get me. Like I just didn't, like, wherever it is that was about to happen, whether it was BUNDU or wherever, even though I had an idea that it could have been BUNDU, but I just didn't want that to happen. So I remember the woman like walked in, and she didn't even call my name. She just grabbed me because I was the only one there. And as soon as she grabbed me, I just started like screaming. I just started screaming, like shouting. Because in my head, I thought, if I just scream, if I shout, if I, cry, maybe like she might just say, oh, leave her, like she doesn't want to do this, or let's forget about this girl. But unfortunately for me, I feel like the more like I shouted and I like, was screaming, crying, like the more aggressive the lady was with me. And yeah, like she just took me to the back of the house, and at the back there was like 4 women, and these were like, like grandma looking women, 4 women there. And of course, like they're all talking about the fact that what's it called, that I'm shouting and I'm screaming and basically just being a menace to them. And so I think as a result of like my behavior, they had to be like really aggressive with me. So obviously like this is like concrete floor, there's like bushes and stuff around the back of the house, but there's really nothing special there. It's just like rocks and dry floor. But yeah, I remember like they literally pinned me down. So like they forced me down on the floor. And I had like one woman, she what's it called? So I was down the floor, back on the floor.
Yeah.
One woman like holding my right leg, and another person holding my left leg. So another lady holding my left leg. But like obviously they're using their hands, but they're also putting their body weight on me. And then I had one of the other women kind of like hold my 2 arms like over my head, like so that I couldn't, because obviously I kept kicking and whatever. Yeah, and I just kind of like remember like still kind of moving whilst they had, but the moment they kind of put their weight on me, and like I couldn't do anything. All I could do was literally just look up at the sky. And literally not too long after, next thing I know, I just feel this sharp pain. And that pain was a blade. So what they did was they got blade. I think they probably might be using the same blade that they used to like cut the other 17 girls. They should got the blade, and they should cut my clitoris and my labia minora, like literally just like that. Just cut it.
Just cut it off.
Just cut it, like literally just cut.
Oh my God.
With a blade, no anesthetic, no nothing. I remember like, because I had tears in my eye, and I remember looking up at the sky, and the thought I had in my head was like, after that happened, it's like, it's weird, but I remember this moment because it's like, I felt like in that moment, I realized that life was going to be hard for me. And I think the reason why is because I had thought that because I was crying and screaming and all of that stuff, I thought that they were going to be like, oh, like she's upset, she's sad, let's not cut her. But I think the fact that they cut me, despite the fact that I was crying in that moment when I was being cut or after being cut, I just really had this sudden sense of realization that like my tears do not matter. And I remember that. So I remember, yeah, just they cut my labia minora, they cut my clitoris, and then after that, the lady, they had like herbs and like warm water. So they got these herbs, and then the warm water, they kind of like squeezed it on my vulva kind of thing. And from there, like they told me to like stand up, and they gave me like some white, or white, I don't even know if it was white, but some cloth thing to put around me or whatever. But I remember standing up and looking at the floor, and the blood that I saw was crazy. Like I literally remember thinking, they like that. It was a lot of, to be honest, it was actually quite a lot of blood, but I wasn't sure whether that was from me or whether that's just from everyone else. But it was quite a lot of blood. But I remember once I was kind of cut, I was told to wear that thing. The lady then walks me to like this other room, and in this other room, all the other girls that had been cut were there. So I was told to sit down, my legs bounded together, and I was told I couldn't move, that I shouldn't move, I couldn't move. And I was told I couldn't use the toilet. Yeah, so like pain or no pain, like you can imagine like how it was in that room. Like I just think for me, like everything was just, I don't know, it was just a lot happening. And I feel like because everyone around you is like dealing with it, do you know what I mean? So I remember sitting down, my legs banded together. But of course, being the youngest child, I started telling them that I needed to use the toilet. But I think this was like long after, like maybe like hours after we've been told that we couldn't. Yeah, I was just like, no, I need to use the toilet, like, so they were still telling me like, no, like, hold yourself, don't use the toilet. I'm like, no, I can't handle it, I need to use the toilet. So a lady came, she took me outside, and for me to go and use the toilet, and that was probably like the worst mistake I ever did, because obviously I didn't understand why they were telling me not to use the toilet. I just thought I needed to use it. But when I then went to kind of pee or ease myself, the pain that I felt was even worse than probably being cut, because and I always describe this pain to say that it felt like, imagine like you have a cut or you have like a wound somewhere, and then someone says, oh, like I can make you feel better, and then they go and get like Scotch bonnets and like the world's hottest chili sauces mixed together, and then start rubbing it on the area that you've been cut. That's how it felt when I was peeing, because I guess whatever tissues and stuff that they'd cut off, obviously this is still fresh, but at the same time, it's probably trying to get itself together. The pee is like water, so
And it's like acidic.
it was
as well.
burning, like it burnt me so much, and I regretted it. And I think from there I kind of just said, yeah, like no more using the toilet for me, because I was crying, I was crying. After that, we kind of had like the second part of the ceremony. Only thing is, I generally can't remember whether this happened like on the same day, but I reckon it did happen on the same day, only because the cutting took place really early morning. So I feel like this probably did happen the same day. So we moved on to the second part of the ceremony, which is where they take you to what's called the BUNDU bush. So what they did was they put like white powder all over our bodies and our faces and stuff. I don't think I was wearing any clothes, like I wasn't wearing anything on top, definitely not. Maybe still wearing the little thing that they gave me for the bottom area, but my legs, everything else was out. Yeah, and then they tell you that you're not allowed to know, nor are you allowed to see where we're going. So they blindfolded all of us as the girls. And next thing we know, like they took us to somewhere, we don't know where. But I just kind of remember like going into like my blindfold being taken off, and us like sitting down in this like forest bushy type of place area. In there, the women there were telling us that, like anything that is said in here, you can't talk about it like outside of the bush. Like this is like you kind of like being initiated into like the BUNDU kind of like, like not a secret, but they call them a secret society, but it's not a secret society. It's like just this is the part of the ceremony that you don't really tell anyone who hasn't gone through BUNDU. You don't talk about this to anyone else. And so funnily enough, like my memory of the bush, I can't even remember much of like what took place in there. But what I do remember is that they were teaching us songs, like they were teaching us like different songs and stuff to sing. They were telling us like a lot of like secrets and stuff like that. And we had to like repeat a lot of things that they were saying and all of that stuff. But I just remember like at one point like everyone was getting called up like one at a time, and there was like a little river, and I think they'd gotten water from the river or something. And the woman like would ask you, I can't remember what it was, but like she'll basically say something like, oh, do you like pledge your allegiance to like this ceremony that you're being part of, like promise not to talk about it, blah blah blah. Obviously not verbatim, but I know that that was kind of like the basis of what that particular bit was. And I can't remember whether they like either pour the water over you or they make you drink the water. I can't remember, but I just remember that everyone stood up and had to like say something and repeat something after whatever the lady said and all of that stuff. And then after that, we're blindfolded again, taken back to the compound, the family house, and then all I remember is us having like this like party, like celebration. You got to wear like your favorite dresses, like tailor-made African dresses and stuff like that. But I feel like my experience was probably a lot more traumatic, I'm not gonna lie, because there was a lot of scary things that like took place, in the sense of like, I think maybe how I was feeling when everything was happening. I just feel like my memory is just, I think I've just kind of like,
it's like your mind protecting you.
But I feel like my experience was like, I think there was a lot more stuff that did go on. It's just that for some reason, well, not for some reason, it was quite traumatic. So I can't remember like most of the things, but I definitely remember what I can. And I just remember like us kind of going back. I don't know whether like that was late, how long it was, but went back to Freetown and told not to like speak about it, of course, like, and then I was just kind of like expected to go back to school, so I went back to school normal. I remember like going to school and like feeling like my vulva like burning, like not burning, but like in pain, like feeling uncomfortable, but not being able to like talk to my friends about it, couldn't really share with anyone. So that was like my BUNDU experience. And
so is this like I know, because you keep like you're mentioning the ceremony. What is the ceremony for? Like, because it's all girls, isn't it? And all
it's all
different
girls,
ages.
yeah. I mean, like, to be honest, like, from what I know now, from the perspective of someone who has kind of read into like female genital mutilation, it's like a ceremony or something that is done. Sometimes people say that it's cultural, some people say it's religious, some people say it's just, whatever it is, it's something that is done as like a rite of passage. So it's actually something that is practiced globally, right? Millions of girls like all over the globe go through FGM. So different like cultures or different societies use like different names for it. But the whole point of it, well, there's a lot of reasons, but from what I understand now, like learning from what I've learned, it's a rite of passage, right? So when a lady goes through FGM, it's like determining that you're now a woman kind of thing. And obviously this whole thing of being a rite of passage, it also means that you're good, you're fit for marriage, you're fit for marriage, and also meant to keep you clean as a woman, right? So the cutting of the clitoris and the labia minora is taught and is said that it's meant to keep you clean, but also to stop women from being promiscuous, right? There's like this idea of like your vagina is tighter or something like that with your cup. So there's a lot of like ideas that people have around it, but I think from like a global context and kind of like research and stuff that I've done, the studies I've done, most of the key points that come up is that, you know, this is what makes you a woman. This is what makes you desirable for marriage.
Isn't that's a little bit weird?
Well, yeah, exactly. So it is kind of like the whole concept of it, you know. And I guess it also I guess with like the lower age thing, you'd also say that maybe it goes in line with this whole thing of stopping you from being promiscuous. So the earlier that you can stop a girl from being sexually promiscuous, right, by cutting her, the better it is for her, basically. But yeah, unfortunately for me though, like my trauma didn't end there. So yeah, I think I was probably like 6 when this happened, and I reckon probably like not too long after. When I say not too long, I wouldn't say like months, but definitely when I then probably like around 7 or 8, I then experienced another trauma, which was that I was sexually abused by family members. I was sexually abused by my cousins. And the way my family dynamic is that obviously I've never met my biological father. All I was told was, oh, like when your mum was pregnant with you or when your mum gave birth to you, your dad traveled to the United States. And yeah, you know. So my dad's older sister, she basically took me as like her child. So she was the one that kind of like adopted me and brought me up. So when we moved to Sierra Leone, even though we had quite a big family, obviously everyone's like separated to their own, you know, different houses, whatever. But I stayed with her because that was like my family, you know. So she was one that was looking after me, paying my school fees and all of that stuff. So for the most part, like I do remember like kind of having things like what's it called, like she'd always provide like stuff that I needed, always had that, you know. I think the only thing was like she wasn't really someone who, how do I put it, like she was someone that would like, if you have like, let's say if I needed my school fees or I needed to buy books or I needed to buy school uniform, as long as she's aware, like she would like leave money on the table or she would make someone handle it. But she wasn't really that kind of like motherly type of like, you know, but it's like she was there, but she wasn't there, if that makes sense. So at one point we had moved to a particular house and I remember she was always out. But I had so she has she has 3 kids who I call my siblings, but they're more so my cousins. It's just that because their mom adopted me, so they're older than me. I think the oldest could be like maybe like late 30s. Yeah, and then the other 2 are also like above 30, so probably like.
But at the time that you were that
Oh
age?
no, I mean now, yeah, but like yeah, so they're always older than me. So yeah, like I was really close to the girl, the girl. So there was 3 of them. The girl was the youngest. I was really close to her, so she was kind of like the person that would like look after me and all of that stuff. And then I don't even know what happened. All I know is like me and her used to share like one room. It wasn't just me and her. I think it was me, her, and probably someone else or something. Or I think she had a friend that was probably staying with us or whatever. But a time came where she had to travel. So I just remember like her traveling and her friend also like leaving the house. So at this point it was kind of like me and like maybe like all the other like male cousins that were staying in the house. They weren't really my auntie's kids, just like other people, you know, they're staying in the house. Yeah. But I literally remember like I feel like the moment my cousin like traveled and left, like the girl, the moment she left, obviously that meant that in the room I was now like the only person sleeping in the room. And I really can't put like a time to it, but it generally felt like maybe like the same week that she traveled, that was the same week that her brother, so my cousin, one night like I was sleeping and someone like I just feel what feels like water like in between my legs. So that was basically when like the molestation started. The moment she left, that was when that started happening to me. But obviously in the house, it's like the person I was closest to was the one that had traveled. So it's like, and it's like my auntie, like we see her, but she's not really, you know. But the people that I saw the most on a day-to-day basis were my male cousins. So that particular cousin, I think it even took me a long time to even realize it was him. Like I didn't even know, like, because the house was dark as well. But I remember like waking up and thinking, this definitely happened. Like, but I think maybe the first time I was not sure what's going on. Second time probably, but I think I began to say, nah, like something definitely was happening. I think because obviously this was somebody who was like the eldest cousin in the house. I think I then thought, oh my gosh, like I was so scared, like I don't know who to talk to. I definitely can't talk to my auntie about it, that kind of thing. Like, because I knew that what was happening was wrong, but at the same time, like I didn't know who to go to, because if something had happened to me, that person who was doing that to me would have been the person that I would go to. Because like I said, like my auntie's not always there, like, so it's mostly the people in the house that were looking after me.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I remember like one day just kind of sitting down a little corner and just like wishing that my mum would come, because obviously like the memory that I have of my mum was that she was the woman that used to do my hair. So I think in that moment, like I really realized that I really I wanted someone to talk to. And my only wish was that I'd be able to like speak to her, like, the same way that she used to come and take me to get my hair done. I'm thinking that maybe she could come and take me and I'll tell her like what's happening. But that never happened. So that happened with that cousin. And I think maybe like years went on or something, same situation happened again when I was sleeping. Someone else, like one of my cousins, once again, like sleeping, just feeling penetration, like one for me anyway, I always call it water because it just always felt like water in between my legs. But yeah, I think I had also learned as a child that like you don't have anyone that you can talk to, because these people, like, this would happen, yeah, when I'm sleeping like at night or whatever, and then the next day these are the same people that are bathing me, getting me ready, walking me to school, picking me up from school.
Yeah.
So that went on for a while.
In this time, where was your mum?
So that's the thing, like the moment I left Guinea and my family like told me that, oh, don't worry, like your mom's gonna come and visit you, and my cousin and my sister, my mom's child, my sister came and visited me. I thought that after that I was gonna, like, my mom was gonna be the person that was going to come and visit me. But since they took me from like the age of 5 to whatever, like I haven't seen her basically.
Did they take you against your mum's will? Like, does your mum know that they took you?
That's the thing. I wouldn't know. Like, I wouldn't know, because all I knew was they said that your mom, don't worry, your mom will come and visit you. And then my sister came and visited for a little while. And then it was meant to be my mom, but she never came. But I definitely remember them telling me that your mom was going to come and visit in Sierra Leone. Basically, like, don't need to worry kind of thing. But yeah, she never came.
And your dad, because this is your dad's side of the family, and you say you've never met your dad.
Yeah, I never met my dad, but my dad's side of the family were the
But your
ones.
dad's side of the family took you in, so he's never
Basically.
come to the house, or they never spoke about him, or
What, as in spoke about my dad?
yeah.
Yeah, like they told me, they were like, your dad, or when your mom was pregnant with you or when she was about to give birth, he traveled. So that's been the narrative since I was a child. So they did talk about him to say that he traveled, basically.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, and I guess still kind of going to school whilst like I'm doing all of this stuff in the house. And I think probably like around the age of 10 or 11, I think there was a lot more, I'm not gonna lie, like there was a lot more stuff going on in my family, like that I probably can't speak about because it doesn't concern me. But I think in terms of like my auntie's like life and her family, like I think there was a lot on a more wider scale. So, but I think for me as the child, like I said, like I think apart from like all the abuse and stuff that I was going through, for the most part, like I thought life was good. Like, I was always looked after type of thing. Yeah, and then like my aunt, like I was going to a very good school. I was always kind of smart in school. They always emphasized the importance of education to me. So yeah, life was normal. I think the most part is that maybe sometimes like it was just a bit lonely for me, because even though like we had like cousins and other people that were living in the house, I think I was the youngest. Like I was always the youngest person. I guess I never really had like anyone like that I was close to, apart from maybe my cousin, the girl. I feel like everyone else, it was just like some of them were just the ones that would be cooking in the house, like, do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And I think around the age of like 10 or 11, my aunt was like, oh, I'm taking you. I think there was stuff going on within the family. And they were like, yeah, we're going to take you, we're taking you to visit the UK.
Now, what was going on in your head then? Because this is the second country now, well,
Listen.
third country, isn't it? That they've said we're going to take you to
Yeah,
visit.
I just think, I feel like even if I had like questions and stuff, I just feel like they're my family. Like I literally don't have anyone else. I don't know anyone from my mother's side of the family, nothing. These are the people that are looking after me. So whatever like they say is, it's just what we do, you know? I don't know anything else, to be honest. So yeah, like my aunt was the person that brought me to the UK. I remember like coming to the UK and staying with like, you know, when you say aunties, like Africans would say aunties. Like, but for me, like staying with like new people that I didn't know, like staying with them. I remember like my aunt is like, she came, maybe like dropped me with them or something. Didn't see her. Like, not, I wouldn't say like maybe the same day, but I definitely know that from there, like they were like, oh, she's just traveling, she's gonna come back. She didn't come back, literally. So I was now staying with like this Nigerian auntie or someone like of that sort. And then I ended up now staying with another person who was another auntie who was from Sierra Leone. So she lived like close to a particular secondary school. So I was staying with her. And from there, it was kind of when I was now placed in like school. So I was actually first placed in like year 6 and then like year 7, but started staying with that auntie in year 7. And yeah, like life was just, you know, I think at this point, like my cousins were now also like in the UK. So I was going to school. Then I actually came across one of my cousins because obviously he knew the auntie that was keeping me. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to stay with my cousin, you know, because yeah, I'd been staying with this woman that I didn't know. I said I wanted to stay with my cousin because that's like someone I know, you know.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, even though I've never actually said this, that cousin was actually one of the cousins that actually abused me as a child. But I wanted to stay with a cousin because I was like, this is someone that I know. I would rather stay with him than stay in this house with a lady that I don't know. So I remember then like having to like leave that house, and then I now went and started staying with my cousin, staying in like a 1-bedroom house, sleeping on the same bed. Yeah, like life was normal. But I think at this point, like I was definitely struggling because like staying with my cousin, he would be giving me like £2 a day, if on a good day, for me to like buy my food, take the train, have lunch, have dinner, everything, you know, with that £2 or £3. So yeah, like I think that was definitely tough. Like of course, like I was neglected in the sense of like sometimes my uniform wasn't clean. And my cousin lived far from my secondary school. So I think what ended up happening was that I basically started coming to school quite late. Which never used to happen. So before is that I was probably a bit disruptive in school. Not a bit, like very disruptive, like getting in fights and stuff, but I was never late to school.
Yeah.
But then what ended up started happening was that I started being late to school, and then I think it kind of raised a red flag for the school. So like one day my I think at this point I probably even like maybe like year 9 or something, or maybe year 8, can't remember, but I just knew that my head of year, like, or deputy head of year, like called me into her office one day, and she was like, Isatu, and she just pulled up like what's it called, my attendance, and she was like, you're not one to be late, but you've been late like for the past couple of weeks, like you've had detentions, da, da, da. And I was like, oh, like it's because I'm staying with my cousin who lives in so and so place. And she was like, okay. She was like, so who's this cousin? And I was like, oh, like it's just my cousin that I've known, he's older than me. And she was like, okay, like what's the living arrangement like? I'm like, okay, so it's a 1-bedroom flat, it's a 1-bedroom house, was sharing it with someone else, so there was actually another guy that was also living in the house. So you know, I kind of just explained the situation.
Yeah, at that time you didn't know that she's taking notes, basically.
No, I was telling her the truth of everything. I was like, yeah, you know, and she was like, okay, like, so do you sleep in the same? I'm like, yeah, like it's one bed, double bed, sleep in the same bed, me and my cousin. And she was like, okay, cool. I said, cool. I liked her. You know, she was a lovely deputy head of year. So I was going to tell her the truth. Went to my lesson. Then I think like Wednesday came. I just get like someone comes, like a child student came in, gave a note that, oh, I was needed somewhere. So I went, just entered this room, and I'm seeing like deputy head teacher. I'm seeing like the auntie I used to stay with. I'm seeing like a few people I don't know. I'm seeing, so I'm my head of year. I'm okay. And, they were just talking I don't even know, but they were just talking, basically just asking, like, asking questions, like, to my auntie. Like, I don't know, but it just seemed like they were having a discussion. But I just remember, like, being in that meeting, and I was like, and they were like, hey, Isatu, like, they were like, oh, this is Maisie. Like, Maisie is a social worker. I'm like, because all I ever did, like, was just always nodded my head, always smiled.
Did you know what a social worker was at that time?
I had no idea. Even when they said that this is Maisie, social worker, I'm like, I had no idea, like, what social worker was. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know what that meeting was. All I know is they were asking me questions once again about my living situation, asking me questions, like, and I'm just telling them everything that I know, So I just, as usual, like, I told them everything that I knew, told them everything that's been going on. And they were like, cool, thank you. I said, thank you. Went back to my lesson. Friday, I'm home by myself. Obviously, like, cousin's house is dirty. Like, there's no food. So most of the time, it's like the money that he gives me, I basically use it for like chicken and chips or stuff like that. So most of it, like, I literally survived on chicken and chips every day. Like, if not chicken and chips, cereal, So came home, like, had dirty clothes, like the house was a mess. I was by myself, because he goes to work, so he normally gets home like quite late. And I just remember like hearing a knock on the door, and I'm like, okay, because normally they tell you not to like open the door. So I remember like I went to the door and I saw that it was the Maisie lady. So I opened up the door and she was with someone else, and she was like, "Hi, Isatu, it's Maisie. I've come to do something called an unexpected visit." So I was like, okay. So she was like, "Can we come in?" I said, "Yeah." So she came in with the lady. They like started looking around the flat, like downstairs. They went upstairs to the room, everything. Came back down, and she was like, "Isatu, please pack your stuff. We're taking you to live somewhere else." So I was like, okay. Like, once again, like, just I always say okay. I'm always smiling. I remember like going upstairs, taking like my dirty clothes, my clean clothes, everything that I could find, just put everything in a bin bag, like had bin bags of stuff together. And they called my cousin, they spoke to my cousin on the phone, and then I think they told him that they were taking me. Literally got in a cab, and the cab took me from like one end to like another area. And I remember kind of like then going to this big greenhouse, the house that I was taken to, greenhouse. Entering there, meeting this woman and her husband, and kind of having like a brief discussion with them. I think they were like explaining stuff about me, my background and stuff. Then the lady, like the woman, takes me upstairs to a particular room, and she says, "This is going to be your room." Like, she's like showing me like, this is the toilet. You need to come downstairs to eat dinner. This is like just talking to me about a lot of stuff. I just kind of remember like saying thank you, but I remember like that night, like going to sleep and just like being really sad. And I was just really sad because it was like, I'm in someone else's house now, like I'm in someone else's house. I'm being told what to do. I don't know, like it's my first night away from my family kind of thing. Oh, this is making me emotional, but yeah, it's my first night away from like family. And next day, literally, I had to get ready to go to school. I remember like going to school, and like school had never felt so different for me. Because sorry.
It's okay.
I feel like the bits I should be crying about, not the bits I cry about. But yeah. But yes, I just like went to school, and like school was just so different for me because it's like I couldn't tell my friends what was going on because I myself didn't really know what was going on, but I just knew that it wasn't something that I wanted my friends to know, people to know. So yeah, being in that placement was interesting. I think it was quite hard for me. I definitely used to tell social workers that I felt like, oh, like maybe my foster carer doesn't like me because she's always telling me to do stuff and stuff like that. But in hindsight, looking back, I'm like, oh girl, you just were used to not having anyone like tell you what to do, basically. But
She
being
was
in the
trying to
house,
actually like raise you.
oh no, like my foster placement, they were quite like, I wouldn't say they were strict, but they were like, they were very disciplined, Ghanaian household, where as a child you're expected to be a child, like, you know, being told to do stuff like, oh, you have to clean before you get money, like you have to do chores. Like I wasn't used to that. I was just used to being the girl that no one cared about whether I'd eaten, no one cared about whether I showered, no one cared about whether my uniform was clean. Like I didn't have no one saying, oh, come, let me do your laundry for you, or have you showered, have you brushed your teeth? I didn't have any of that. So for me it was quite difficult to kind of like adjust to that. Like especially I remember like times where like I'd be upstairs and then like they'd call me to come and eat dinner, but it's like I wasn't allowed to like eat in my room. It's like you had to come downstairs and you had to eat dinner with all the other like foster kids. And for me it's like I didn't like that, because I was like, why can't I just eat in my room? Or sometimes I'll be like, I don't want to eat dinner, I've already eaten outside, you know. Anyway, so my placement was but for the most part, like it was a really good placement. I feel like they really like were very on my neck in terms of like studying, you know. So I remember at one point, like I think maybe social services, that they got me like a tutor that would come every Saturday morning, sit down, be teaching me, and I was like, get me out of here, man. But no, but it was good though. And then what happened? Yeah, I think I was, like I said, like I was disrupted. So I used to get in a lot of fights in school. So I think before I came into care, I think I was probably on the verge of probably, if not me coming into care at the time that I did, I probably would have gone a little bit more like outside. So I used to, actually, no, I can't say certain things on camera, but
We get the gist.
but yeah, like just the way that I was, I kind of think me now being in care, it just slowly, it's like I started changing a bit, like, you know, because I'm studying a bit more, you know, I'm not just doing whatever I want to do. And I will never forget, like, when we had parents' evening and my foster carer and her husband came with me. That was the worst. Like, I don't ever want to have that experience again. My goodness. Because I've never had anyone show up for me in school. I was that child that no one would come, like parents' evening, no one was ever there. But in year 9, that was the first time I ever had anyone show up for a parents' evening. And boy, oh boy, those teachers, they were like, we've got you now. 3 years of you thinking, oh no, oh my gosh, you know, the chair, yeah, was on fire. What? Those teachers were like, oh, you're looking after her. She talks, she fights, she's rude, she insults. Oh my gosh. I just remember like being on fire, like, and I'll never forget like the journey home. And they were like, oh, so this is how you are in school. From there, it was like, yeah, they were on me. But I think it was good, because I think from then, like, I started like really kind of having an interest in school. The way my school is set up is like, okay, cool. If you're like set 4 and down, they're always talking about university, but if you're set 4 and that, you're not included in that conversation. Like, I remember like a time where they had like an assembly, and the assembly was for Russell Group universities or something along those lines. And like I remember like saying, oh, I wanna join this assembly, and they're like, oh no, it's only for set 1s. So I was like, okay, so it's like, okay, like I can't go to uni then. Did my GCSEs and I ended up like passing all of them. I think I got a B in English, got a C in maths, got a B and A in something else, D in a few stuff, but I passed all of it, like, you know. And I went on to sixth form. I studied English language and literature, philosophy and ethics, and sociology. Went on to do my A levels, finished my A levels, and I went on to university. I remember like being in sixth form and hearing so many people talking about uni, talking about Russell Group universities, and like, even though I'd never really like, I think even though I was like, I'd never really seen myself going to uni. I think because of like the way I was, like, and the kind of way I was living and the way I was in school, I'd never, like, I just don't think I was that child that people would see going to uni or even being, like, I don't know, smart or something, you know. But I actually remember, like, being in college and my sixth form teacher, like, she used to say, oh, you're the my English language and literature teacher, like, she used to always say to me, you're the smartest in this class. She's like, you're so intelligent. And I remember, like, I'd always sit down and I'd be thinking, like, this is English you're talking about. I'm like, does she know where I'm coming from? Like, do you know what my English teacher said to me? But she always used to, like, she would tell me, like, oh, I want to give you extra homework to do ICT. Like, can you stay back and do this? Like, and I always used to be like, I don't know what's going, like, but whatever it is that she used to say to me, it really gave me, like, confidence in myself. So I began to, like, have that same attitude in, like, sociology or, like, philosophy and ethics, like, because I'm like, listen, my English teacher says I'm smart, and she even makes me help her with some of the things, and she even asks me questions. I'm like, I am smart, you know. So yeah, I went on to university, studied social anthropology, and I remember, like, going to uni, because at this point I had moved in with a different foster carer. When I started college, I moved in with a different foster carer, and I remember, like, I thought that my foster carer was going to come with me to uni, and social services, like, they booked a van to pick me up. And I remember, like, this guy came, packed up all my stuff from my foster carer's house, and I was like, okay, are you coming? And she was like, oh no, she's not. And I remember feeling so heartbroken that she wasn't coming, but she was like, oh, she had something to do or something like that. She couldn't come with me. So I literally just got in the van with this random stranger, and he drove me to uni. And I remember, like, getting to the campus and seeing, like, everyone with their families, like, bringing their suitcases and stuff like that. And I remember, like, the guy, like, helping me take my stuff to my room. And I remember, like, after he'd, like, moved all my stuff, he just said, he was like, good luck. And, you know, he left. And I remember, like, being in my room and my door was open, because, you know, people normally leave their doors open. My door was open, and my flatmates were, like, going by, and then one of them, like, walked past, and, like, her parents, like, stopped by, and they were like, oh, hi, like, how are you? Oh, da, 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 what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. And I remember, like, seeing, like, her family walked with her, like, her dad or whoever looked like siblings, whatever, whoever they were. And I remember in that moment, it's like I just got, like, this wave of sadness that came over me. And in that moment, I remember, like, shutting the door, and I just went down on my knees, and I was just like, I just prayed to God. I was like, God, I know that you're the person that's brought me here. If you didn't want me to be here, I wouldn't be here. I was like, I know I don't have what others have, but I was like, please give me the strength. The same way you've seen me through A levels, please help me here. And I remember, like, just leaving it to God and just saying, girl, I remember saying to myself, you can't let, like, I'm like, you've worked so hard, you can't let what you don't have impact you. And that was it. So I prayed that prayer and had 4 years of uni, which was interesting. It was difficult. It was quite hard. But it was hard, but I went through it. I think I did 2 years, and then I had a placement year where I worked in a school as a mentor. So did that for 1 year, came back, finished my final year. And my final year I started my final year end of 2020, so during the pandemic. And I just remember the plan that I had with social services was that they were gonna keep me, because my uni is outside London, but during my placement year I was staying in London in a semi-permanent place. And they said, oh, if you want to stay here till you finish uni, that's fine, we can allow you to stay here. So I was happy. I was like, oh cool, I have my own place, I'll just have to, like, commute to uni if I need to, type of thing, you know. And I had turned 21 in March in 2020. And I remember, like, end of September or something like that, all of a sudden, like, I got contacted from social services, and they were saying, oh, you have to move out of the place that you're staying at. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm about to start uni in, like, 3 weeks, you know, in October. How am I going to move out? Why am I moving out? And they're like, oh, it's because we can't support you because you're now 21. And I'm like, yeah, I turned 21 in March. And from March till now, no PA, no personal advisor, no one's contacted me. You guys have waited until I'm 3 weeks away from starting my final year of uni, and you guys are telling me that I have to move out of here. So I remember like that was stressful as well, and it was long, but I think thankfully like I think I've kind of built like a network over time of like different organizations or people. So I reached out to my best friend, whose sister then connected me with someone, advocacy service, blah blah blah, that helps black girls, and they helped me, and I contacted my uni, and they said, don't worry, if you don't have anywhere to stay, you can stay on campus for your final year. So that was how I kind of like went on to my final year, like struggling through it.
Social services goes for kids goes all the way up until you're 25.
Until you're 25, but for me, I feel like they really, like my social services have really let me down, because like I said, like I turned 21 in March. During that pandemic, no one ever checked up on me, didn't get contacted from no one until September, when they're like, you have to move out, we can't support you. So and then obviously that was bad. But what the PA said to me was, oh, but don't worry. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start your housing application now, so that by the time you finish uni, like you would be sorted out. So I remember telling them that, okay, but the only issue is I don't want to stay under my local authority, because even though I'd always been looked after by a particular local authority, where they've placed me have been in a different local authority. So I was like, I'd rather stay in that area. And also because one of my foster brothers that had done something to me also it's also looked after by them in the same area. I was like, I don't want to stay there. Like I want to stay where I'm used to, where I've grown up. They're like, okay, like no worries, we'll sort it out. I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna work hard, finish my final year, then I'm gonna get supported on my housing. I think like I'm about to start my exams in like May or something. All of a sudden I get like a phone call from my PA person, and she goes, oh, hey, Isatu, just calling to tell you that like today's my last day. And I'm like, your last day? Okay, cool, that's fine. Where are we at now? She's like, oh, I sorted everything out, don't worry, I've handed it over to this person, blah blah blah. Cool. Literally get to the end of my final year of uni. Mind you, like it was so hard for me during final year, because it's like I'm by myself. My mental health in uni is crazy, and as much as like my foster carer, like she will allow me to come over and stuff, like sometimes I'm like, I just also need somewhere else that isn't like there. And so literally I remember like doing my dissertation, having to like pay for like weird like different rooms, like different places, you know, like on booking.com, like maybe I might come down to London, go see someone, like a friend or something, and then go find somewhere, because like my mental health, I just wasn't in the right place, and I was tired of being in the environment that I was at uni. So I had to like find different places to like just be doing my dissertation, and it was quite difficult. But I remember kind of like coming to the end, and then like emailing like my local authority, like the manager person, saying, hey, like I need to move out of here by the 31st. Can you guys please provide me with a van that could pick me up to bring me back to London? And the manager's like, oh no, sorry, like can you not get train? And I'm like, train? Like where have you seen someone moving out of university getting train? And they're like, oh, can you not get a friend? Can you not get someone? And I'm like, can't you guys just get me a van? Because you guys got me a van and I was coming. And they were like, oh no, like they don't have a budget. Literally, they didn't help. Like they were just left me to it. And I didn't know what to do, because university, you know. So I remember like calling once again, like calling on my network, like calling on different people to help me. And then I had this acquaintance of mine who said to me, she was like, oh, Isatu, like I'm going to help you. She said, and the reason why I'm helping you is because in first year of uni, when I didn't know you, I needed money and I reached out to you and you gave me money. So she was like, just take this as my payback. And I was like, wow. And literally like her boyfriend came down, helped me move out. And now that I've moved out, obviously I've basically also found out that my PA didn't do anything. So nothing was sorted out for me, which means that I had nowhere to go. So imagine you've worked so hard in uni. I got my first class in my anthropology module. I've worked so hard, and then I find myself being homeless the next day. But the kind of person I've always been is like, no matter what I've gone through, I've just always told myself, you have to keep going. You know, these are just little obstacles and hurdles in the way. So that was the same thing I told myself. I'm like, there's nothing you can do about it. Like, I'm not a firm believer in crying. I'm not a firm believer in like self-pity, because I feel like ever since when I was a child and I was cut, when I cried so much and I was still cut, I think from there, like, you know, when people say like my innocence left me, I feel like my innocence left me at that age. So the mindset that I developed was, no matter what you go through, you cannot cry about it. So all these years I was going through it, wasn't crying, just taking it as it came, basically. So yeah, like that's how I now anyway moved. So when we came back to London, literally one of my friends like had all my stuff. Her parents allowed me to keep all my clothes, everything, and I had a lot of things because I'm a bit of a hoarder. So much stuff in her sitting room. So like she had all my stuff. I'm then sleeping in like another friend's house. You know, and then after that again put in like temporary accommodation. And in that temporary accommodation, like my friends would be coming, bringing like grocery shopping and all of that stuff. And that was hard. Being homeless was quite hard for me, I think, because for the most part, I feel like education had shielded me. I feel like even though life was really hard for me, I just never realized how difficult and how much of the life I was living, how difficult it was until when I was homeless. And now it's like I'm by myself. I don't have a job. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm being told to go on like universal credit and all this stuff. And I'm new to all of this stuff. And at the same time, I'm like, I just want to give up. So I think for probably like since the age of 5 till about 21 or 22, I never once really cried about anything I was going through. But I remember like in that my homeless season, that was when I was at rock bottom and I said I couldn't do this anymore. But I'm like, I genuinely think I've come to the end. Like I can't do it.
Oh, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that.
Yeah, like, and I remember like, because obviously like my faith has been quite important because I'm a Christian. So I think for me, like if anything, my faith has been a game changer. Like, you know, even though like I haven't really been the most perfect Christian, but I don't care about all that perfection stuff. I think for me, it's because I've seen like what life can be. I've seen how tough life can be for some of us that don't have parents, who don't have family. So, but it's like in that moment, I was like, not even my faith can help me. Because I think all these other years, it's like when I was going through one hurdle after the other, my faith was keeping me going. But at this point, I was like, I can't do it. And then all of a sudden, it's like I started finding coping mechanisms now. Now I'm looking at my self-esteem. I'm like, I have low self-esteem, low self-worth. I'm turning to men. I'm turning to sex. I'm like looking for something to like help me just not deal with the reality of what I was dealing with. And I remember like in that place of my life, like I started like for the first time ever weeping and grieving my mother. Like I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm 22 years old. And it's like, I didn't realize that all these years that I had like been going through life, there was a part of me that had held space for my mum, like in my heart. So because one of the memories that I have of her is that she used to do my hair, I didn't realize that all these years, when it came to the area of like self-care and like all of that stuff, I wasn't looking after myself, and I couldn't really allow others in to help me because I'd always saved space that my mum would come and do my hair or that my mum would come and cook. Or so it's like I didn't realize. So I'm realizing this. I'm grieving her. I'm grieving my dad. And I'm now grieving the FGM. I'm like, you're not a woman. And I'm like, your body can't do what other women's bodies can do. So now I'm turning to sex because I'm trying to understand like why can't my body do that? So I'm in denial. I'm like crumbling and all these things. And in that moment, I said, "Girl, you need to get it together." So I reached out to an FGM clinic, and I thought that the UK offered reconstruction surgery, but they don't on the NHS. But I
They
remember going,
don't.
no, they don't. They don't under NHS. No, they don't. Um, I think if you go private, you could get reconstruction surgery, but apparently something that some people are trying to like. I know a particular doctor, Dr. Julie, that is working hard to try and like push that. So I was just like, I know that I'm a mess. I know that FGM has impacted me. I know that my sexual abuse has impacted me. And not once have I ever dealt with it. I've carried it all these years. And now I'm 22 years old and I'm crumbling. And I went to them and they said, like, oh, sorry, like we don't offer it, but we're trying to do it. Just give us your consent, blah, 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 for research, whatever it is they were doing. But I remember like what they said to me was, but we do offer you, they were like, we do offer you, what's it called? Counseling. And the therapy that they offered was psychodynamic therapy. And I feel like that probably was the thing that changed my life. That therapy that they offered. It was only meant to be for 6 weeks, but ever since I started it, like since probably like 2021, I've still been seeing my therapist up till now. It was only meant to be for 6 weeks, but when I stopped, I realized I needed it. So I kind of like found different organizations that support care leavers, that could support me to like pay a little bit, to help me to go to therapy. So that's kind of like what I've been doing, just basically doing as much as I can to help myself. And I think that the psychodynamic therapy really helped me, because when I was homeless, I was diagnosed with like depression, anxiety by the NHS, and they put me on CBT. But CBT was horrible for me. It just wasn't working.
Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah, it was just not working for me. And so yeah, I think the psychodynamic therapy has been great help to me. So yeah, kind of like went through my homeless season, worked in a school, and then I think somewhere in like 2022, there's something called the Care Leavers Internship Scheme. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's like a internship scheme for the civil service.
Okay.
So that opportunity came up. My local authority sent an email out, and initially, because I thought it was to do with them, I wasn't going to like open it up, but I realized it wasn't to do with them. So I signed up for it, applied, went to like interview and all of that, got the job to be an intern for 1 year in a government department. Did that for 1 year, and then they kept me, made me permanent. So I've basically been working like in government for the past like 3 years. And I guess also during my time of being homeless, I wrote my first book, which is called The Power of Perseverance and Resilience. When I say the grammar in that book is so poor, like my goodness gracious, I don't even know if probably ChatGPT was there, I probably didn't know about it, but it was so bad. But I remember writing that book when I was homeless, because I said to myself that I needed to write what I'd gone through. So I remember when it got to the bit of me talking about my mum, as I've spoken about her today, I think for like a whole month I couldn't write. All I was doing was crying, because it's like for so long I'd held my heart together, held myself together, never allowed myself to cry over these things. And during that time as well, I did like a GoFundMe campaign. I think I raised close to like £3,000 for orphans and care leavers in Ghana. So what I did was I basically raised money, people donated. I traveled to Ghana. I hosted a fun day for kids in the orphanage, gave back clothes, books, like whatever it is, and donated money to Care Leavers Network in Ghana. This was all during the time I was homeless. And the reason why I did that is because I was like, I got to a point where it's like, okay, I really needed to be broken. Like I needed to finally like cry and finally break down, so that I can understand that I needed the right support and right help that could help me continue the journey. So I think it was during that season of my life that I made my mind up that I'm about to still continue living, but it's not like it's still the same journey from childhood, but this is different now. Like, this is not just me surviving, like I'm about to make the decision to live life and live a purposeful life. And so during that time, I dedicated myself to say, whatever it is, God, that you want to use me to do on this earth, like, let's just do it at this point, because I've already gone through hell. There's nothing else. I mean, hopefully there's nothing else that the universe has for me. But yeah, I think it's been an interesting journey for me. My work is amazing. I like my job. I have recently launched and founded like my own organization called Transformation Talk, which is an organization to help like care leavers and survivors.
Yeah.
So what we do is we offer like workshops to survivors on like self-belief or stuff like that, and young people as well. So yeah, I launched that recently. Also launched like my book, which is here as you can see, called Courage: The Secret of Breaking Barriers and Limitations. And in the book, I basically just talk about the importance of just having courage, the importance of like having the right mindset, because I feel like all the things that I've achieved, or me being where I am now, is honestly because I've had to work on my mind, and I've had to understand that like knowing who you are, knowing your identity is like the beginning of everything. And next month, September, I'm starting my master's degree at UCL.
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on.
It's a lot going on. Yeah, I started my master's degree at UCL. I'm going to be studying education and international development whilst working full time, because obviously I have to. I know it's not going to be easy, but I'm doing it because I know it's something I want to do. But also,
It's funny you say it's not going to be easy, but I think you've went through a lot harder, a lot harder things than possibly a master's degree while working full time. I think you've got the strength
I
to do
hope
it.
so, because I'm like, boy. But yeah, that's basically where I'm at now. That's my journey. There's a lot more stuff that I do, but hey, I think the main part is that I think it's been a tough journey, boy.
Yeah.
Even me myself, like sometimes when I share my story, people are like,
how are you still standing? How you still here?
I think one of the biggest struggles though, however, that I've gone through is the backlash that I get from my family. Because obviously you can imagine, like, with my story and me sharing the truth of what I've gone through, it's brought a divide. Not even a divide. Basically, my family are like, you're trying to destroy the family. There's something wrong with you. Stop talking about this. Stop talking about that. But I think the irony of it all is that once I kind of came in care, I didn't really have contact with them like that. So it's like foster care saved my life.
Yeah.
Foster care literally saved my life, because I honestly think that if I wasn't in foster care, I don't think I'd be where I am now. And so I can remember, like, I think it was last year, I shared my story of me being sexually abused by my cousin. And I shared the fact that, so when I was in my first year of uni in 2019, I used to do YouTube. So in my YouTube video, I was talking about like being abstinent and abstaining from sex and this and that. And my cousin that abused me, his brother was subscribed to my channel. He saw the video and he sent it to the immediate family group chat, which is me, my auntie, and whatever. And I didn't even know, I don't know if I wasn't on the group chat or whatever, but for some reason I didn't know that he had sent it. I was in my foster carer's house, then I get a phone call from this cousin that one day abused me. And he goes, "What's your problem? I only had sex with you once or twice anyway. And that was because I was going through some stuff. Why do you keep talking about it?"
Sorry, that's just blown my mind.
Yeah, so that was like 2019, I remember. Yeah.
So he calls it sex. It's not abuse.
No, he called, he was like, "What's your problem?"
That's actually set me dizzy.
He was like, yeah, he was like, "What's your problem? I only had sex with you once or twice anyway. Why do you keep talking about it? What has the family done to you? And why do you keep talking about the fact that you're now a Christian?" Like, and he was like, "I want to see you. Come and meet me at the area that he used to live in." And I remember like hearing that on the phone. And it just so happens at the moment he says that to me, my foster care was downstairs and she was calling me to come and eat dinner. This was my second foster care, by the way. So I remember just saying to him, "Oh, I have to go." And I hung up the phone and I went downstairs to eat dinner. My foster care was looking at me and she was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good, because all I've ever done is smile. Like I can be going through hell and all I'm doing is just smiling, just saying, I'm good. So I remember like I went upstairs in my room and I remember being on my knees and I was like, when someone like is doing like, it's like self-soothing and you're holding yourself. I was on my knees and I was rocking back and forth and I was crying. And I remember like the thing I wanted to do, I wanted to just strip naked and just go outside running, because it's like hearing like the cousin who had abused you as a child. Even with that, it's already messed up, right? But maybe there's a part of me that was still like, oh, maybe it's, making excuses a mistake or, all of that stuff. For me, like, mindset has been very important to me. And I feel like if there's any like message I could even give to like young people that are in foster care or that come from dysfunctional households is you need to have the right mindset and you need to understand that your childhood might not be perfect or it might not be like how everyone else's is. You shouldn't allow like what you've gone through to stop you. I've learned to like never allow like my negative experiences to ever like kind of like hinder me. And never make excuses. I've learned to never make excuses. I think despite everything that I've gone through, I've always taught myself that you can't make any excuse. Like there are people who have gone through worse, but also number two, you're in a place where you are given opportunity. So I could sit down and I could cry about my pain. I could sit down and I could cry and make excuses, you know, for why I want to live a particular way or not do certain things. But I just feel like those excuses are not good enough. Because I feel like, and one thing I've always told myself is if they can do it, then so can I. It is painful that I don't have that relationship with my family. As I was saying, that my cousin that abused me, like, you know, what he said to me. Obviously, I shared that on TikTok last year, and the video got like 87,000 views or something. And my family members saw that. So the sister that I was close to, you know, a few other people saw it, and they called me and they said, "You're very unforgiving. You're trying to destroy the family. What's wrong with you?" If my auntie, so my cousin's mom, if she sees that video and something happens to her, like I'm gonna be the one to blame. Like, am I really that much of a good Christian? You're not. Like, if I'd really forgiven him, I'll stop talking about it. I'm not the only one that's been abused. Like, that's like the mindset that they have towards me. So they don't really talk to me. And what I've basically said to them is, you guys are not denying whatever's happened to me. But for some reason, like for a group of people that basically also left me in foster care and all these things, I'm like, you guys have quite audacity, like for you to still think that you have any kind of like power or hold over me. So the truth of the matter is, like, my family basically have an issue with me because I keep talking about what I've gone through. They care more about me talking about it rather than myself as a person. How am I doing? None of that stuff. I haven't gotten that from them. And it's tough, it's hard, but life gets better, and I've made the decision to basically believe in what I'm doing, like knowing that I'm breaking the cycle by speaking out, and I'm going to keep doing it, regardless of the fact that I've lost my family in the process.
Thank you very much, Isatu. Thank you for coming down to the school today and sharing your story. It's very impactful. You're very strong. And I'm very happy that you're still here today to help many other girls. Let the people know where they can find you, TikTok.
Oh, yeah. So my TikTok is Isatu, so ISATUU. And Instagram, follow Transformation Talk. And get a copy of my book on my journal. So I have the book. I've got like 3 or 4 journals, a notebook, all on Amazon. My full name, Isatu Hajasho Momo. And yeah, follow Transformation Talk. Organizations work with me. I want to make money. Please work with me. I want to also impact my generation, but I also want to make money. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's a wrap.
Thank you so much.
The body part was real.